All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Athlete and Artist Show. I am the artist, Kyle Forge, alongside the athlete, professional hockey player, Zach Boychuk. Finally got a guest back on the pod. It's been a while. I've been trying to get this guest for a year now. If you watched last year's March Madness, you absolutely know this man. He is the manager for the McNeese basketball program. You saw him last year. He transferred to NC State, transferred back. The first manager in NCAA history to receive NIL deals, which is nuts. He's the vibe of the team. He's the energy of the team. Some might even call him the aura of the team. Please welcome Amir Aura Khan. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
Appreciate you coming on, man. You mentioned you're in between classes right now. I didn't know that people with six-figure NIL deals still had to go to class. I thought once you hit a certain level, they have people for that. They call them tutors or something. I don't know. Is that they didn't include that in your deal?
Yeah, no, I try to get that worked out, but for some reason, I guess they don't do that for student managers.
Hey, we appreciate you being here. I know it's been a busy year for you in the past year, man. What's been going on since like last year's moment? I mean, a lot of big things happened for the program in general, getting that first win in the NCAA tournament, and then for you, obviously this moment that captivated the sports world. Like, just give a quick rundown on kind of how that changed things for you and what you've been up to since then.
Yeah, no, it's completely changed my life. I would say after the tournament, I had a few different opportunities I never thought I'd be able to experience. Went to a soccer tournament, TST, was able to be a part of a team in the summer. Went to summer league, and was able to meet and connect with a lot of people that I never imagined I'd be able to. Shams was a big one. I met with Chris Paul out there in TST, and I've always wanted to meet him. Always looked up to him. So that's what I did in the summer. Kind of wasn't a part of a team, just taking advantage of the opportunities that I was able to experience. And then in August, I transferred to NC State. Wanted to follow the coaching staff that I was with at McNeese for the last 2 years. And yeah, I was just kind of being a manager over there for a few months. And I liked it over there. Everything was good with the new staff. But one of the issues was that kind of set me back in terms of graduating, just transferring to a bigger school. McNeese isn't too big of a school, so that's one of the reasons why I came back. Wanted to come here, wanted to graduate from here, but also just wanted to be back at McNeese. It's home. Lived in Lake Charles my whole life. Grew up 5 minutes away from campus, and yeah, I just wanted to come back. I think it's uh, there's not. NC State was amazing, but I just don't think it can fill the how special it is at McNeese for me, especially everything that happened over the last year. So yeah, I'm just back to being a regular manager at McNeese.
Where were you living in Raleigh when you were down in NC State? I played for the Hurricanes off and on for 6 or 7 years and lived in North Hills, kind of a little bit, 15, 20 minutes from the arena there. But I loved going to
Yeah.
the NC State games, both the football and the basketball. So where were you at?
Yeah, I was downtown it's a new apartment complex. It's the Myra. I think I'm saying that right. It's
Mhm.
the I lived over there for a few months, which I believe it's 20 minutes away from the Lenovo Center.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good area. I think like downtown was kind of on its way to getting like busier and busier. Like I feel like the colleges, most people like kind of stay out near the big three, the triangle or whatever, but more and more people were moving downtown, especially the last 5 or 10 years.
For sure, yeah, that's what I heard.
It's interesting that you brought up the feeling you have being with McNeese too, because I think it's a different, not a different environment, but it is a different feeling when you are a part of a program that isn't a big favorite, isn't one of those big schools, especially in the NCAA. It's kind of like that classic underdog story that everybody loves to follow. And man, like you guys have had a really good program for the last 3 years too, like including this year as well, right? And
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead,
for
sorry.
sure. We've had a over the last few years, ever since Will Wade joined, he changed the program.
Yeah.
Uh, Back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, and we got an NCAA tournament win, which was the first in school history. And now Bill Armstrong is the coach, and he was assistant under Wade, and they're really close. And yeah, he's things haven't dropped off, and we didn't expect it to. We didn't expect that to happen. He's won everywhere he's gone, so why expect anything less?
And you guys are what, one win away from getting an official berth in the tournament again?
2 wins. So
Two
we have
wins.
a double bye into in the conference tournament. So we'll be in the semifinals, win that, and then championship game, and hopefully be back in the NCAA tournament.
Man, that would be so unreal. Just after everything that happened last year, I'm pulling for you guys to get back into the tournament. I think everybody in the basketball world wants to see you back in the tournament too.
I appreciate that, man. I think really they want to see, the talent that we have, the players, the coaching staff. Yeah, but for the few who want to see me with the boombox in March, we'll be there. I have full belief in this coaching staff and the team. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Are you pre-selling the ad space on the boombox for the tournament just in case, or what's your plan there for this year?
Really, so last year it was crazy. I had the companies, they hit me up, via email, DMs, social media. So I'm just kind of gonna let it play. Just play out like it did last year. I'm not reaching out to companies if they would like to. Buffalo always sent a speaker last year. So if they like to do that, then I'm definitely willing to hear them out. But I guess we'll just rock out, how we do, and then we'll let that play itself out.
How quickly did all of that happen for you last year when the clip started going viral? Because I remember I was talking to Reed, and he said that he kind of took on almost like co-managing you while you were focused on the actual tournament, like helping you kind of like facilitate some of these deals, or kind of siphon through the ones that were either BS or the ones that could actually, help you, or stuff like that. So
Yeah.
how easy was that to deal with, and how quickly did it all happen for you?
Yeah, like I said, for me, I was, kind of confused by everything just because I didn't post the video. Um, I didn't post video from my platform. It came from our video director, PJ Mitchell, and he posted on Twitter, and I didn't even know it got posted until a few hours later. People were sending it to me, and it happened on February 24th. So everything that happened last year was in less than a month. So it was crazy. It was hard to navigate every single thing, not used to, didn't even know how to go about it really, because it was just a unique thing, didn't know how to go about it. But Reed, I'm still working with Reed right now, even though he's at NC State. He helped me a lot with it last year. He had experience, and he knew what he was doing. So I was just, letting him tell me what to do, and I would just go do my thing, basically. But yeah, I'm appreciative of him because he made everything last year, so easy and simple. So he would just tell me, "Oh, look, we have this deal lined up. You got to do this and this." I was like, "All right, yeah, I'll do it."
It's easy for that stuff to get overwhelming, hey? Especially
Mhm.
if you don't have help, like someone like Reed, like if it's your first time blowing up and all these brands are reaching out to you, getting all this attention, man, it can be, and especially when your main focus is the tournament and working with a team, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden having all this other like background noise, essentially, it can be overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the big thing, really. Um, because I'm so used to focusing on being a manager and helping the team out with, just everything I do, with the small things behind the scenes work. But during the tournament, after we won the first round game and the day in between the second round game, I wasn't able to be with the team much, and that part kind of sucked because, but Coach Wade let me and Reed do our thing. He understood that it was a unique opportunity, for me and also for the school. So yeah, we took advantage of everything, but that's, I think, the toughest part. Not being able to be with the team the day before the second round game as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, Zach, you can probably attest to that a little bit too. Obviously, you were Zach Amir. If you don't know, Zach was one of the first NHL players to really grow a platform outside of hockey for himself. So, Zach, do you want to kind of pitch into what your experiences on that side are when the game for you is and playing is your main focus, but also having kind of other stuff to that can kind of pop up and be overwhelming like that?
Yeah, I think just trying to find that balance. Like I remember the first time that I ever got on X or got on Twitter. Like I sent a tweet out just because my stepdad told me at the time, like, oh, you should get on Twitter, like see what happens. I was playing with Carolina at the time, and I don't know if it
Mhm.
was when I scored my first goal against New Jersey or kind of like right around that time. But I sent a tweet out, and then one of the managers for Carolina messaged me. He was like, "Is this actually you? Like, are you on Twitter?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, that's me." So then they retweeted it on their main account, and this was like before a game. I remember my phone going off. I got like thousands and thousands of followers after the Carolina Hurricanes retweeted my one tweet, and trying to get a nap in before the game with something like that. I'm sure it's similar for you, with all like coming in all at once. You don't know what's happening.
Absolutely. I think like Kyle said, it's overwhelming just because we're not used to it, don't know what's going on and how to really fully process it. And but yeah, I think it was definitely cool. It was fun, to see everything, but it was definitely overwhelming at times. But I had a great team around me that just made it so much easier to kind of deal with deal with everything and just kind of do my thing.
What's the biggest thing that you learned from that experience and going through, obviously, like we said, the overwhelming aspect of the virality and the being a public figure now, so to speak, but also, keeping that balance, like you and Zach said, with the task at hand. What's the biggest thing you learned from that? And does it apply to the degree and what you want to do as a career in the future?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, just lesson I learned, I guess, is just to just keep being the same person I've been and just keep doing the same thing I've been doing. I think it's easy with everything that happened last year, for people to get ahead of themselves and, think of them to try to act different or be different. But I that's not who I want to be. I just want to focus on being a manager and, being the same person I've been, before everything happened. So I guess that's the biggest thing I've been focused on and just really just enjoying the moment because it's so overwhelming, but it goes by so quick at the same time. And it was special last year, even though there was a lot to handle, a lot to deal with. It was a special moment because something like that hasn't been done. So if anyone else is able to experience something like that, I would say just stay in the moment and enjoy every little thing that's going on.
What are you taking in school? Like, what's your degree and what do you want to do as a career?
Yeah, so my degree is sport management.
Cool.
I would say I'm split into, two careers. Before being a manager, I wanted to get into sports media. I could talk about sports, forever. I do it 24/7, without being in front of a camera. So if I could do that for a living, I definitely want to, see if I could pursue that. And I think, everything's happened over the last year has given me a bigger platform than I had before. So maybe that's something I pursue, but being a manager for the last 3 years has also, I love being a part of a team. And I feel like there's no different feeling. It's an amazing feeling, especially when you're winning. And we've been to the tournament the last 2 years. Hopefully, going to the tournament again. And I feel like I've learned a lot about coaching over the last 3 years, a lot more than I knew before. I watched basketball a lot my whole life basically. But and I thought I knew everything about basketball, but man, I didn't know anything really. And like the X and O's and how deep it gets, and just how much work you have to put in on a daily basis. And there's not really for coaches, there's not really an off day. So just also learning that if this is what I want to do, then I have to be fully invested and you can't be halfway in halfway out. So yeah, just considering all of that, and I'm gonna kind of see how this March goes, hopefully graduate soon. Still trying to figure out if I want to take another year as a manager, just because it's been a special moment. I see a lot of these college athletes; they're taking sixth and seventh years, just staying in college, and they're getting their money. And I don't have any criticism on that. I think they should do that. Whatever's best for their career. So if the best thing for me is being a manager for another year, then I think that's what I'll do.
So do you have to be a student to continue being a manager then?
I would. So
Yeah.
I'd have to be a student manager. So
Okay.
because I'm able to graduate, I'm able to graduate in the summer if I want to. So I'd have to, consider just taking less classes, I guess, if I want to be a manager for another year, maybe taking different classes. And yeah, just figuring out how that would work because I'm so close to graduating. But also there's graduate manager positions, usually at bigger schools, but I don't know if that's an option at McNeese. If it is, I definitely love to do that. But yeah, just kind of I'm gonna talk with the staff after the year, and kind of see what they have in mind.
Man, that's such a cool opportunity for you because, like, judging even just how you answered that, you kind of have like the two different ways that you're interested in going. Whether
Mhm.
media being was your original plan and idea, something that you love to get into. Now learning like the coaching side. So I think it's a smart thing to keep options for both of them, and I think that's a super unique opportunity that is being created for you in this space. And
Mhm.
have you been reached out to by media outlets or other schools or even McNeese about potential positions or partnerships once you do graduate, either on the coaching or media side?
Yeah, I would say, after I've been reached out to a few schools reached out to me to see like when I'm graduating, what's my plan after being a student manager? Do I want to be a graduate assistant for staff? So I've had a few schools reach out to me about that. I would say I have a few connections, just in the sports media world, just because of everything that's happened over the
Yeah.
last year, in terms of interviews and just people wanting to connect. So I would say after graduating as a student manager, I want to be a graduate assistant. I want to be on a college basketball staff and continue to do what I've been doing for the last 2 years, just in a higher role, I guess I could say. And then see what happens after getting my master's, because that's definitely something I want to do.
Oh, cool. What do you want to get your master's in?
Yeah, I'm thinking, because I've got my undergrad. I'm getting my undergrad in sports management, so I'm
Yeah.
thinking, if I want to get into the sports media space, maybe get my master's in journalism or something like that.
Have you thought about getting into like talent or athlete management or being an agent type of thing, since you've now had experience of negotiating deals and going through kind of a similar space that they have to go through as well?
Yeah, I've definitely considered that, and yeah, I would say like I'm keeping all options open. I feel like I've learned a lot about being an agent just because everything I've learned over the last year about how deals work, and just getting a sense of it. I would say one thing I thought of is helping other managers get NIL deals.
Mm.
That's one of my goals this March, is just because how special it was for me, to get that first NIL deal. It was an amazing feeling, and I all the student managers, they do a lot of the behind the scenes work. They don't get a lot of credit, and rightfully so. The athletes and the coaches, they deserve all the credit because they're the ones who dictate what happens on the court. But also, I think if student managers can use their own platform to kind of show what we do, and how we help the team win, and I would love for other student managers to be able to kind of experience what I did over the past year.
One thing I want to go over too is the. Can you explain what a student manager in basketball, what your role actually is? Because in hockey we have like athletic therapists and equipment managers, and
Mhm.
it can kind of sometimes be a blended role at the junior level or in the college level. So in basketball in the NCAA, what's your role as a student manager?
Yeah, basically, uh, really, I would say just help coach staff with whatever they need. A lot of the small things, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Our typical day is that we go in, the players will go through workouts, and then we'll rebound for them, just helping them get through the skill workouts, and then we set up practice, making sure all the equipment's out for practice, everything's set up right. If the coaches need anything before practice, go help them with that, and then just help facilitate practice throughout the day in any way we can. With little stuff like, running the clock, making sure, the clock's ready, and just making sure, the floor is dry. There's no wet spots. If the player falls, we go clean it up. And then yeah, afterwards it's a lot of rebounding. We'll rebound again for the players as they get shots up, and then we'll do laundry and kind of like, some schools at NC State, they had an equipment manager. Over here it's the managers will kind of all help out with the laundry, and then that's usually a typical day. It's a lot of rebounding, a lot of just making sure the players have what they need, the coaches have what they need for practice, and yeah, we'll do laundry.
And I know you're humble, so you're not gonna talk yourself up too much. But Zach, from your side as a player, how much do managers and athletic therapists and these core personnel on the team, how much do they really mean to you as players? Because they mean a lot from looking from the outside. I don't think fans really realize how much a student manager or an athletic therapist or an equipment manager really mean to the team.
Yeah, they're huge. There's a reason why the big organizations, the Florida Panthers, the Toronto Maple Leafs, like these guys have endless staffs to the point where you have the general manager, you have the assistant manager, you have maybe a head coach, associate coach. Like I was watching the Olympics, and I swear to God there's like 10 coaches on the bench. I'm like, how is there this many people that that are helping the players play. But you know, the more the better. I think you know, it'd be cool to see in pro hockey. You don't see it in Europe as much, but I'm sure in NCAA there's probably, you know, athlete managers, you know, sport managers that help out, and those are the most important guys. I'm going through it right now on the team that I have in Europe, and you know, we have a, you know, the regular GM and the regular coach, but then we have a lot of other people behind the scenes that are really helping, doing the little things, doing the food, you know, the laundry, the you know, helping us get our apartments and like little stuff like that. And I feel like that's stuff that you'd be doing. And
Mhm.
you know, just sitting in on for you to be able to sit in on some of these calls, probably some of these recruits, you're probably learning so much. So
Mhm.
you know, keep keep doing that. I feel like you'll be moving up roles really soon.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot for real.
Amir, do you ever get contacted by like pro teams that are looking at some of your players, whether they're asking about like character or what those players are like off the court? Do you get people reaching out to you to get more insights on the players?
Yeah, I would say they usually reach out to the coaches, like the higher up coaches about that. But it's funny because at Summer League, I actually got asked about a few of our players because one of our players from last year, Christian Shoemate, he was out there this year, and then they were asking about the new team and some of the players. So I would say, when I'm at basketball spaces, then I'll get asked about our team, and I was able to talk to some people higher up involved in the NBA, some general managers, and that was just a cool experience. And for them to be asking, because McNeese didn't have that, NBA talent before, and the last few years, they've been, they've had quite a few players who played in the summer league who are still playing in the G League. Shoemaker's still playing in the G League, so and I think that's hopefully a thing that continues going forward with the McNeese program.
I think that's a super important thing for pro coaches and staff to look at is obviously they'll reach out to coaching staff, but reaching out
Hmm.
to people like yourself who really have that inside knowledge of working with these players. And coaches have their agenda. They obviously want their players to go to the next level, but I mean in hockey sometimes you can get a little bit more insight on someone that from the athletic therapist or from an equipment manager or someone that like yourself that works with these guys on a day-to-day basis that coaches might not say. Like I've had NCAA coaches and pro guys reach out to an athletic therapist I know, and he's like, "Man, that guy's a piece of shit. Don't don't recruit him." Or they'll
Yeah.
say the complete opposite. Yeah, this guy, like he's a family guy, or they'll just give more insights that the coaches may not be inclined to give.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I think student managers are and just people who aren't, I guess, the top coaches have a little bit of maybe a different experience or a different relationship with the player, so can provide something different. Like you said, how the player is off the court, or even the small things they do on the court, and how they the respect towards other people. I think you're right. I think and that's a big thing about it. Little things like that, they matter. And luckily for the last 3 years, I haven't, there's not a player that I think that about truly, because
Yeah.
they've been great people, and I think that's also like an underrated thing about this coaching staff. Not only are they good at recruiting, players, but they know how to, recruit people. Every I can say every single player I've had, no one's been disrespectful or anything, and they've been just great people, really.
Yeah, for sure. I think the virality of your moment really showed a lot of insight to your program as well, and how much you guys really seem like a family, and how tight you guys are
Mhm.
behind the scenes, especially going through a storybook run like that, getting McNeese's first NCAA tournament win or March Madness win, and just really you can really see when a team is so tight everywhere from top to bottom, and that it really showed that you guys were that last year, and it seems like you guys are this year again too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big thing, a big emphasis from the last coaching staff and this coaching staff too, is that for this whole year we're gonna be a family. We're gonna be together, and we're gonna be spending every day together for basically a full year. So, and there's no point of us being on, bad terms, and just not being close. So a lot of things do we do a lot of things off the court to help build just team morale, team chemistry, and I think that's an underrated thing from this coaching staff too. Just making sure the team's together, making sure everyone's one, and not having you know, any issues really with there's been no issues with the players, with the coaching staff, relationships are great. Team morale is always, the team's always happy. We're happy to be around one another. And I think that's really an underrated part of just being a great team.
You've mentioned the change in coaching staff from last year to this year. What's kind of been the biggest change within the room in terms of how things are ran, or changes that you've noticed, and how many guys are returning players on the team from last year to this year?
Yeah, so we have from last year we have four returning players.
Okay.
Eric Villarreal, Tijon Brown, DJ Richards, and Javon Garcia. So we had a little bit of continuity from that. And then the new players, a lot the coaching staff, I think because Bill worked with Will Wade, and they talk to each other every day, they have a great relationship. They honestly do things like very similar. I think the biggest thing about like me, like it felt like I've been here for the last 3 years, even with those new coaching staff. When I joined back in November, it felt like nothing has changed just because they run things so similar. I would say, just some of the differences are it's just like over like small things, schedule and stuff like that. I think Coach Wade like, things to be early, early practice, get up, early lift, and Coach Armstrong prefers it later in the day. He lets the players, sleep in, rest, and then just come in around the afternoon, sometimes like 10, 11 a.m. to get work in. But I would say besides that, everything is very similar.
From your experience that you got to have it at NC State, and being involved in a very big program compared to McNeese, are there any things that you are able to come back and implement from your short time there to McNeese?
Yeah, I would say because at NC State it was a much bigger staff. Over here we have four managers. Over there was 12. So I think
Wow.
and how in depth everything was, and everything was more detail oriented because you had so many bodies, and you were able to have. A lot of people do a lot of different things. So I think that's also one thing, even though we're coming to a smaller school, we don't have the same resources as NC State does, but that's you can still focus on be detail oriented, focus on the little things, and just bring that over here, and just makes me a better student manager. I feel like.
Zach, what do you got?
So in NC State, would they have like 12 guys with boom boxes just ripping around? All the managers are just loving it, or what?
Yeah, no, so yeah, I think they coming in, they knew like that boombox thing. They wanted me to do it. They wanted me to carry it. And I think that's the funny thing, or like one of my the best experiences. We'd walk out with the team at NC State, we'd walk out and the team would run behind, they'd go, I'd stay behind, but then afterwards, like, the manager would get around me and then they would just get hyped, all of them. So it was fun. They were all like great people and just great to be around, and they were a big reason why I enjoyed being over there. Yeah, I think it's funny that you say that because after every time they'd walk through, it was only there for 4 games, but they did it every single time, and it was really cool.
That's awesome, dude.
That's awesome. You're like the ultimate hype man. I think any NHL team would love to have you when we come out on the ice.
I appreciate that, man. I've actually walked out a hockey team before. I walked out the NC State club team over there. It was
Oh,
cool,
nice.
I've never been on the ice, but it was I'm not super knowledgeable about hockey, but it's always fun to watch. I went to Hurricanes game out there, so yeah. If I ever get a call from an NHL team, I'd definitely be willing to do that. I think it'd be cool. And really any professional team, I think it'd be really fun.
Is basketball the main sport that you'd want to stick in, or are you open to other sports? Is basketball your main sport? First, before you answer the previous question, is like, did you grow up playing basketball, or what got you interested in basketball as a sport?
Yeah, I grew up playing basketball. I wish the basketball was the main sport that I played.
Cool.
As a fan, I'm a huge football fan. I've
Okay.
been watching football, and really, we're a huge football family. Like my whole family will watch football. Even my mom, my sister, who don't watch sports as much, they'll watch football with us. They're big into it. So really, we're more a football family. But in terms of playing, we played basketball every single day. Me and my siblings, would be outside, shooting on the basketball goal, playing two with each other, and getting fights over and on basketball, in terms of who was better and stuff. But like, little stuff like that made us want to go play, want to go practice every single day. So I would say basketball was definitely my sport. I actually played soccer in high school too, and I watched soccer. So I love soccer as well. But yeah, basketball is my main sport. I would say in terms of, if I want to be a coach at a level, I would say it's basketball just because I've learned so much over the last 3 years of, being in basketball. But if an opportunity arises for me to be involved in football, whether it's at the pro or at the collegiate level, I would definitely, love to experience that at least for a year. I think it would be cool. And just because I love football so much, I think if that opportunity ever, shows itself, then I definitely take advantage of it.
Who's your team? Who's your football team?
Football team is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
Why
They're
them?
close.
Yeah, it's just haven't been able to get that playoff win. It hurts, but hopefully we'll get there next year.
What made you a Chargers fan?
Yes, my dad was a Chargers fan, and I
Okay.
think it's funny because my dad has some random teams, and they're like, "Why do you like these teams?" And a lot of it is because I support the teams my dad supports, who he was watching, and my dad he followed players, so he was a big
Cool.
Junior Seau fan, and I think that's what was the reason why he was a big Chargers fan. He loved Junior Seau, and for me, it was watching LaDainian Tomlinson, Philip Rivers. I love those guys. Watching it with my dad. So yeah, not don't live anywhere near LA, but I'm a Chargers and Lakers fan, so I get a little bit heat for it, not supporting the local teams, but I like who I like. I can't change that too much.
So I'm
Are
a
you
Lakers
sad
fan
they
too.
left San Diego, or was it just, they're just moving down the road a little bit, so no big deal?
I was definitely sad when they left San Diego just because I feel like San Diego had it was a better fan base out there. And just now you're in LA, it's a even though it's right next there, it's a much bigger city. LA's very different than I would say San Diego. So definitely, a little upset about that, but I'm gonna support them no matter what.
What are your thoughts on the LeBron Lucas situation for the Lakers?
Yeah, I think I it's I think LeBron and Luca are definitely a good enough duo to win a championship, especially when you have Austin Reeves as your third player. The third guy to guard. I just think a lot of it is the supporting cast around them. Not that they don't have great players, but I just think it's the personnel. Right now, you don't have you need a rim running big man and someone who's willing to play defense. I think DeAndre Ayton is a good center. I just don't think he fits that description. And yeah, I think you need to surround Luca with shooters, a 3-and-D player specifically. You have to have guys who are willing to guard the team's other best player, especially when you have Luca, Austin Reeves, and LeBron. When LeBron's a good defender, but he's a little older. So I think it's just not the right personnel around them. At the same time, I know it's not easy. When you're paying those three that much as much money as they're getting, it's hard to build the roster that you want around those three. But I'm hoping the Lakers can at least win a few playoff series this year. It might be first round exits again, but yeah, I'm hoping it brings us a championship.
Do you think LeBron's going to stick around? Because I keep seeing rumors that he wants out, or they want him out, or he might not resign, or he wants to trade.
Yeah.
What's your professional insight there as a basketball guy? Because I'm a hockey guy, so I don't know all
Okay.
the inside scoops that you do.
Yeah,
We
I
hear
would.
all the rumors with the owner, so she's
Yeah.
the new the new owner. So we need your input.
Yeah, I think he's leaving. I think
Damn.
he's gonna maybe go back to Cleveland and end his career there. I think that would be special for him. Just because he's been in Cleveland twice, he won a championship there, and he's the best player in the Cavaliers history. I think him going back there, finishing his career out there would be special to him. I love for him to stay on the Lakers. There's a lot of there's Lakers fans are split on whether they want him to come back or not, just because how much the contract and you know we really need there's a lot that the Lakers need in terms of help on defense. And LeBron's a great player. Obviously, he's the greatest player to ever do it, in my opinion. But yeah, I do think he leaves.
You think he's better than Kobe?
I do, and yeah, I'm a Kobe fan. Kobe's my favorite player of all time.
Me
And
too.
Kobe's actually a big reason why I love basketball so much. First athlete I watched, so I'm a diehard Kobe fan. But I think LeBron's the best player of all time. I just think what he's doing in year 23, the longevity, how long he's been doing it for, and how great he's been in all those years. I just think no one is able to do it like him.
Fair enough. I'm a big Kobe guy too. Like Kobe is my he was what got me into basketball too. Like in terms of like the first guy that I watched. That's obviously what made me a Lakers fan is watching Kobe
Yeah.
when I was younger. And
Mhm.
then like this seeing them win the championship the year that Kobe passed or the year after, that was so special for me. I felt like it was it was like a storybook ending, like we've talked about. It's just it was nice to see the Lakers get that championship at that time.
Absolutely. And I think he's a big reason of why they did, because
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to win it for Kobe. The same year he passed away, and what he meant to the Lakers, I'm sure what he meant to, every basketball player, NBA, he's Kobe Bryant. So I think that was I really think it played a part in them winning a championship that year. And it was special with everything going on that year, as a everything that's going on in the world. I think it was cool, as a Lakers fan to see them go and win the championship.
I got a couple more things, but Zach, do you have anything else on your side regarding that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to circle back to McNeese and this year. What are
Mhm.
the biggest challenges? Obviously, assuming we after you get through the next two games, biggest challenges going into the NCAA tournament for McNeese to be prepared for this year to make another run.
Yeah, I would say it's I say, just being ready for the athleticism at the power forward level is always tough just because, we play in the Southland Conference, which is a smaller conference. It's improved, mightily over the last few years, but at the same time, power forward athleticism is a little different, and we don't play that on a consistent basis. But I would say we have the guys. We have that athleticism over here. We have the guys to compete. We have the athletes to compete with any of the schools, whoever we might face. But I would say just in general for a Southland school, that's usually the biggest challenge they have to face.
How big of a run do you think you guys can go on?
I really think we can get to the second weekend.
Yeah,
I know it's a lot of the staff is a new staff, first year coaching staff, but they're so great at their jobs, and I think they just needed the opportunity, and now it's here and they're ready for it. Obviously, for 26-5 in the first year, I think a lot of these players are, they're power forward players. They're good enough to play at that level, but they wanted to come to McNeese State, seeing how the program has changed, and yeah, I think we can get to that second weekend.
man, it would be so dope to see you guys go on another run this year. I know this year
Yeah.
I'd definitely be putting you further in my bracket, that's for sure. I always pick UCLA in my bracket. It's just that's my team in college
Yeah,
basketball. Whether they're projected to go deep or not, I always pick them. But I'll definitely
for
have
sure.
McNeese going far this year if you guys get in.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was actually I was watching the game UCLA game last night. Big win for your Bruins.
Yeah,
But yeah, I appreciate that. In my bracket last year I picked us to go all the way. No, didn't quite work out like that. So this year I'm going to be picking us to go all the way in the bracket.
absolutely.
Any chance I have an opportunity to do that, that's what I'm going to be doing. So hopefully I get a perfect bracket doing that this year.
All they need is the aura. You got it.
Hype man.
Hi, man.
No, I think they yeah, I appreciate the love from everyone, but I don't know if I really do much to, contribute to them winning. I think that's all of them. We have elite players and elite coaching staff. I also think we have an elite manager crew. We do what we do behind the scenes. We'll take credit for what happens behind the scenes, and they can take credit for what happens on the court because really they're the ones who are doing everything.
You're humble. You're humble. But I definitely, obviously on the court it is to the players, but I think
Mhm.
it all comes together, right? The everything
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the energy in the room to the staff to the coaches to the players. I think it all accumulates to one thing, and if everyone
Mm.
is aligned and cohesive and coming together, and that energy is good, it makes it a lot easier for the players to win on the court.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I fully agree. I think like the biggest thing about, the coaching staff that they're able to set is, being one, being a family and, everyone being together just because, we are a family. We spent every day together for the last year. We got to know each other quite well and, we're happy to be around one another. And for the walkouts, that's definitely one of my goals, making sure the team is as hyped as they could possibly be before they get onto the court and, play the game. So that's why for the walkouts, I just let them pick the song, even though people ask me like, "Oh, are you picking the song? Picking a song, picking a song that you like?" And I'm like, "No, whatever they're feeling that day is what they should play because, you know, at the end of the day, the goal is just to get them hyped so they can go out and they can win." So yeah, but I do agree. I think everything, plays its part, and everyone plays a role in helping the team win.
They're going to be coming out to some K-pop Demon Hunters this year, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they have that on their playlist. Maybe some of them do, but I'm not sure if that's the one. The song that's gonna be playing from the boombox.
Last thing before I let you get out of here, and I know you got another class today, but what do you have a favorite brand that you got to work with last year throughout this NIL experience and the virality that you experienced? And is there a brand that you haven't got to work with yet that you would love to?
Yeah, I would say, you know, all of them were cool, really, honestly, because I was able to work with so many national brands in a short time. It means a lot to me because I never thought I'd have a deal with any of them. I would say the coolest one, if I had to pick one, it's either I got a bobblehead for the with the National Bobblehead
Oh,
Museum.
sick.
We were able to do that, and then the Topps card, just because I've been such a big sports fan my whole life, and just having a card of me from the March Madness win, it means a lot to me. That's something I'll be able to hold on to for the rest of my life, and just say I had one. But for one that really I would say Under Armour. I did something with them last year, but we're an Under Armour school, so I think if we could do something again with them this year, if I'm able to do that. Last year they're the ones who got me the yellow jacket that
Yeah,
I
that was
walked out with in the
sick.
second round. So if we're able to do something with them again this year, I think that'd be really cool.
Unreal, man. Well, we're wishing you all the success, both personally in your own career, whatever path that you decide to go down after you graduate and get your master's, and obviously with McNeese this year going into the NCAA tournament. Wish you all the success. We'll be watching. We thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, man. It's probably the funnest podcast I've done. Just felt like just having a chill conversation. So I appreciate you guys for real.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, man. We appreciate that. We're pretty easygoing guys. Like
Yeah.
it's nice to obviously Zach can give the athlete perspective, especially when guys like you come on that are part of these teams, and as humble as you are, not taking the credit. It's nice to have someone like Zach here be able to give guys like you the credit that that everyone else can see. But yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to keeping in contact and watching you the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Definitely will stay in contact.
All right, thank you, man.
Let's go McNeese.
Let's
We'll be
go.
cheering for you guys.
Let's
UCLA
go. I'd
McNeese,
love to
pick
hear
them.
that.
All right, see you later, everybody.